So for the third task for this week, I also decided to do a video because I just think I can better share my points that way. So initially, I just looked over the test, noticed that they're asking for some similarities and differences between the North and South during the Civil War. And then part two kind of looked at influential people during this time. The first question asks, what inferences can you make about students' current knowledge of the Civil War? So looking at this, I would assume that they don't have too much knowledge. As far as the similarities go, a lot more people were able to list at least something for that, or I'm sorry, for the differences. But it still asked for five, and a lot of them were on the lower scale. There was only one, two, three, four people who could do four or five. For the similarities, there were a lot of ones, twos, but mostly there was a lot of zeros. So they still had a hard time kind of understanding the differences that were happening between the northern and southern states. As far as the influential people go, there's a lot of no's in here. The one person who had the most significant amount of knowledge was Lincoln. So from this, jumping into kind of the second question based on the data, which course of action would you plan for this unit? What would you cover the most and how would you cover it? I think I would try to cover most of it. I would definitely try to kind of focus on the northern and southern states and what their part or role was in the Civil War. I'd want to focus on all the influential people with maybe less of a concentration on Lincoln, just kind of, again, like a recap or just a refresher on his part in everything. Interests in this, there's a lot of mixes between it. There's a lot of hates, there's a lot of likes, and there's a few loves. So I would try the next question saying, how would you use this information for differentiation? I would try to make this a little bit more fun. I try to really brainstorm of ideas of how to make this interesting, maybe do more games or activities that are more interactive. Because I know personally I wasn't always the biggest fan of social studies. It's still hard for me to retain it, any knowledge that I get from it. So I would try to make it super interactive so that they did have more of an interest into it. As well as the learner profiles, this kind of goes into the other question as well. It says, how does this information within the learner profiles help you plan for this unit? I also could plan differentiation within knowing about the learner profiles. So there's a few who struggle in groups, and there's a lot who have a preference for activeness. So I would try to provide multiple options for students. I would make independent work and group work optional, so they have that choice of what they would want to do, as well as activeness. I would try to kind of make it interactive and something that these kids would really enjoy. And then the writing readiness, struggles with writing, I would try to also differentiate by thinking of some other ways to submit content that they got from this. So PowerPoints, videos, mind maps, just things like that that is not super heavy in the writing. But obviously I think that writing would kind of have to go in with it. So maybe for these four, I could give them another option, as well as everyone else as well.